Welcome everybody to Rob's MetalWorks. Tonight we are at the SB, also known as the Old Sunset Station here in San Antonio, and we're out here to support the brutality of Narcotic Wasteland. Yes, opening up the show tonight, supporting the show tonight of Accept, and I have with me the main man, Mr. Dallas Toler-Wade. Sir, what a pleasure it is to have you on our show.
Thank you.
Lots to talk about, man. I've been kind of anticipating this chat with you for quite some time because I've been jamming your new band for a while now. And there's going to be people out there tonight who watch our show from all over the state and country and who might be coming on still to Narcotic Wasteland. So talk a little bit about the beginnings because it was kind of new to me. I found out that you had already been doing Narcotic Wasteland work even before, while you were still in Nile.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing kind of started when I was, when we weren't busy doing the Nile thing. I was still, practicing and writing and doing some stuff. And it ended up being like stuff that I was kind of playing before I was in Nile.
Yeah.
I was a little more on the thrashy side, a little more old school in some ways. And I just kept writing it and was talking to one of my good friends and lead guitarist. And we just kept putting demos together. And one thing led after another. We decided we wanted to make it a band. And try and do it. And then, and then I left Nile at 2016 and then just made this my full-time thing.
When you weren't on the road with Nile, because I know Nile was from South Carolina, would you go back home to North Carolina? And is that where you kind of built this band from?
No, I still live in South Carolina.
Oh, okay.
I moved back home for a little while. That didn't really work out, so I came on back. It's a cool place to live in.
Yeah,
so I still live in Greenville.
Yeah, you talk about other places like that in the country to us, way down here in the South, and it's always kind of intriguing to me because I don't know, a lot of the culture and the metal scenes, and especially the southern east coast of the country. So thanks for sharing a little bit about that. Definitely Narcotic Wasteland is different than the Nile stuff. So talk a little bit about kind of your vision for what you wanted to do musically with this heavy stuff that you're doing with Narcotic Wasteland.
Well, basically, I really just like to write stuff that kind of gives you goosebumps or, gives you the chills or whatever, or makes you want to, punch someone out, that kind of thing. And real raw, aggressive, emotional kind of stuff is what it's going for. And the topics I wanted to be a little bit more about, stuff going on in daily life, just stuff that I observe, that I see happening around me. And there's been a lot to observe the past 3 years in this Twilight Zone episode we've been living in. But so... that was pretty much it. It was just a vessel for me to get some of that off my chest, whether it be personal stuff with me or it be things that I observe. And, of course, I have sort of a fascination with criminal behavior and the criminal mind and serial killers and stuff like that. So it all kind of works, and it made its way into it as well on some of the songs.
Did you see the new Night Stalker on Netflix
Not
series?
Yet.
Oh, you got to check that out. I just saw it recently, and it's really, really good because they really focus more on the perspective of the detectives and the case rather than just Richard Ramirez. So that's cool, man. You'll like that. You guys released your first kind of official recordings into the market in 2014. It was a self-titled debut. Mm-hmm. Like you said, you were still with Nile at that time. Mm-hmm. Is that still available?
Yes.
Because I kind of looked for it and I couldn't find it.
Yeah.
Where can people get that from if they still want to jam that?
Yeah, you can get it digitally at the narcoticwasteland.com website. Okay. And you can also order the CD from there. And we have some with us, for the shows.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
awesome.
Yep.
I'm glad you carry hard copy stuff, man, because old schoolers still like that stuff.
Oh, absolutely. And, it's a lot of that, a lot of people are thinking the same thing. Like I heard, it was like, oh, yeah, I had to find it on Discogs, and they were charging all kinds of money. I was like, dude, I still have the original pressing, because when I financed that, I went ahead and got a bunch, just because what the hell, I mean, even if I don't sell it tomorrow, I know eventually. So.
Yeah. And then a couple of years later, like you said, you departed from Nile. How did you know it was time to move on? Why did you feel it was time to move on?
It was just time. I mean, without really getting into it, but it was just time, and at that point, since that wasn't really working out for me, I decided to just focus on Narcotic Wasteland, and we already had a good bit of Delirium Tremens written already. And so I just kept on plugging away at that and got it finished, and we got lucky, and Megaforce helped us out with distribution and all that stuff, and it's been great.
I love Delirium Tremens. I
Thank you.
really do, bro. It sounds great. The songs are great. I love the motif. And for some of those people who don't know what Delirium Tremens is, can you share a little bit about that?
Well, basically, it's when you, if you've been drinking, and sometimes it does the same thing with opiates, but if you've been on a real bender for a really long time and you try to stop suddenly,
Yeah.
your body and your chemicals and everything are just going to revolt. And,
Wow.
and it does kill people. And sometimes, if they get through it, but it's very tough. It's actually not a good idea if you're a heavy drinker and you decide to go cold turkey, Delirium Tremens might be right there around the corner. So
Yeah.
so that's not a good thing. There's even a beer label called
Really?
Tremens, yeah.
Wow.
It's like one of them fancy IPA style drinks.
And so, obviously there's a lot of people who deal with those kind of, habits and have difficulty kind of moving on from them. Because of that, they build up toxic kind of behaviors and stuff like that, and causes problems in relationships. I mean, we've all kind of experienced a lot of that in our lives, right?
Absolutely. I mean, we've all probably recently lost friends to
Sure.
either drinking or opiates, and pharmaceuticals is actually the one that's really killing us right now, which is funny because, that's prescribed.
And now that we're getting older too, I think some people, it was cool to do stuff like that and you could get away with it when you're in your 30s and late 20s, and now we're in our 40s and 50s and like people just aren't stopping.
Yeah, and I'm just happy to be damn alive at this point, approaching 50 myself, and I don't really drink anymore. I'm a whole lot of no fun. I guess it was time to cut back on all that too. I've spent my whole life being freaking cheerful, so just make some jokes about it. But we are getting older. We do need to think about those sort of things, and you can't just drink a case of beer and a fifth of Jack and do that every night. I think that's going to be all right.
Right.
That's going to catch up to you
eventually, for sure. It seems like Delirium Tremens 2 was it was a really focused effort. I mean, did a lot of that some of that cleaning up help a little bit with putting such a tight record together too?
Not really, because I was still not drinking super heavy, but I was definitely drinking during the process. So it wasn't really a thing. I mean, we were just getting better at what we were doing, and it just had more focus. And since I knew that it was really just going to be the only thing I was going to be doing musically, it was going to be my main focus. That just put the extra gusto into it, and put something together, and just getting that whole thing together. Like the first album, there's always going to be like one or two songs that we will always play from the first album, but it definitely was like the garage band version of what became later. And the new material is we're just getting better, And the full one will release next year, and we've got a couple more singles that we're going to release. So.
And I don't want to be remiss. I know you're the main man behind this band, but share a little bit about who you have in your lineup right now.
Well, currently for live, we have Brett Lee on lead guitar, and Joseph Howard on drums, which he's going to end up being, a permanent member because he's just kicking major ass, and he's a great guy. He's got a great team player. He's got a great vision, and for bass, we have Chris Corsi on, which is a funny story because he was in one of my bands before I was in Nile. I've known him since I was a teenager.
Wow.
And, he went into the service. He was in the Army. He did his 20 years, retired. But through the whole thing, he still played his bass and all that. So we've been in touch over the years. We reconnected after our original bass player decided to leave. And he was the first guy I called, and he was like, of course. And here we are. And it's so far for live, it's the best lineup yet.
I've seen a lot of the video on YouTube, and I've seen your playthroughs. And my camera guy, Kevy's a guitar player, and I was like, man, you got to watch this guy's playthroughs. I mean, it seems like you're playing better than ever.
Yeah, I mean, I still practice a lot. I'm not one of those guys that's like, I only pick it up when I have an idea. I think that's just inherently wrong, and you're going to end up writing the same thing over and over again.
Right.
So I continue my education on the guitar, and I took some lessons during the COVID times.
Wow.
And then I even give lessons a little bit here and there if somebody asks for it. I can work something out and just stay active. And the day I stop learning will be the day I die a little inside.
Sure.
So I just like to stay up on my chops. I still enjoy playing like as much as I did when I started playing. And it's always new stuff to learn. You can always get better. Famous B.B. King saying, somebody asked him, was like, why do you still practice? And he was like, because I still hear improvements.
Yeah, yeah.
So, it's always there, especially a
there.
world as huge as a guitar.
Sure.
There's a huge universe in there, and there's still all kinds of stuff that you'll discover if you just try,
We're going to talk about a couple of singles that you've released this year, and they sound great, but also Delirium Tremens sounded really good too. I just mentioned that. Can you talk a little bit about the recording? Where did you guys record at, and who mixed it and stuff like that?
Well, actually, I did the guitar, the bass, and the vocals in my studio.
Wow.
And then we're working again with Eric Schultek, which is handling the drums on the recordings. He's doing the drums on the recordings and helping and doing the mixing and the mastering.
Oh, okay.
And me and him just been bouncing back and forth. And,
Yeah.
he did a great job on the debut. And
Yep.
I was like, at the time when we started putting all this together, I didn't have a drummer. And, Eric, he's a great studio guy. He did a great job on that. So we've been working with him again.
Mhm.
And it's been coming out great.
I think there was a lot of speculation from fans, because, you were in Nile for a long time, right? So people, in their minds, and they kind of build this stigma about musicians and what they do. And Nile was always kind of like, that Egyptian themed kind of concept band, and Narcotic Wasteland isn't that.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
But I'd have to say, I loved the songs that I wrote for Nile. I loved working with Carl's lyrics. They basically wrote the song themselves. I mean, so that was a lot of fun. But yeah, this is a little bit different. It's a little more on the punk side. It's not all poetic. I'm not using big thesaurus words or nothing like that. I wanted to keep the message really simple and straightforward. Some people were saying, "Oh, this is kind of cheesy" or whatever, and I'm like, "Oh, we are talking about heavy metal, aren't we?" Let's give me a break here.
Yeah. You released the first single of this year, a brand new track, "Morality and the Wasp." Thanks to my boy out there for sending it to me. I've been jamming it to it. Another great sounding track. Talk a little bit about that, man, because I think it's since you had released the Tremens, it's been like 5 years now.
Yeah.
So it was about time for some new music.
Yeah, and that was actually, all of that was scheduled to come out way earlier.
Oh, okay.
But then we were running into issues with one of the drummers that we were working with, and then, the whole COVID thing happened. And then I was just like, well, I'll just continue to write, and we'll see what happens. And then finally things just started happening again. About 2021, we started doing a little bit of shows and stuff like that. And, the album's been pretty much finished for years now. Plus more material beyond the album because, we were just kind of sitting ducks there for a minute, So.
Yeah, and then a week ago, 2 weeks ago, you released the Best Times Have Passed, another single. So both of these singles are going to be on the new record?
Yeah. And we're going to release a couple more singles as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was talking about it with Kevin. Like, I don't know if Dallas is going to go the route of singles or going to release a record or what's the deal?
Yeah, we'll do both. We'll release a couple more. One of them is already ready to go. It's a full-on video. It's got us playing live and fucking crazy-ass mosh pit and also some other stuff that we recorded along with it. And it's going to be a cool video. And it's
cool.
The song has a cool message. I'm real happy about sharing it. It's going to be another fast ripper.
Are you talking about the Best Times Past?
No, the new one that's going to come out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you share a title on that yet or no?
No, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait on that one.
When would you like the new record to come out, or when will it come out?
We really wanted it to come out a million years ago, but we're looking at I really want to get it out the first quarter of 2023. That's the slated, like, my kind of timeline that I'm trying to adhere to, basically.
And at this point, it's going to be an independent release for the band?
Oh, it'll be on Megaforce.
Oh, Megaforce still?
Yeah,
that's great. Every time I hear Megaforce, I always think about, Johnny Z and Marsha. And then, did you hear about the Metallica doing that benefit show for them?
I did not hear about that, but that's really cool.
Yeah, and then guess what made it even cooler? And I'm not sure if you recall or not, but Metallica's first major tour where they were opening up for Raven.
Oh, wow.
I think that was in 1983. Well, now they got Raven to open up for them for this tribute show.
That's great.
That's kind of cool, right?
Oh, hell yeah.
You got to give back a little bit, right? And
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
so they're going to give it back. So good, man. I can't wait for this record to come out. I'll definitely, pub it on our program. You guys are here in San Antonio. You've been on the road now for a little bit.
Yeah, just a few days.
Yeah, just a few days. I think September 29th, right? Does that sound about right?
Yep.
Yeah, and your direct support for Accept.
Yes.
How have the shows been going so far?
They've been going pretty well, actually. A lot of people are really responsive to us and getting a lot of great compliments.
Yeah.
That's really, really cool. And of course, Accept is about to blow the roof off this place. I mean, they're just performing amazingly. And
Really?
yeah, they sound better than the album.
Wow.
Yeah, they're super tight, super professional show. It's great. It's great
Yeah.
to be here, and we're very honored and thankful to.
And they've been treating you guys right.
Oh yeah, they're all great guys.
That's cool,
We're all
man.
out here for one reason. That's to play some metal.
Yeah, and I'm sure you're making new fans too, because I'm sure there's Accept people who don't know much about Narcotic Wasteland.
Yeah, definitely. And actually, there's a lot of people that are like, "You were in Nile?"
You look familiar.
Yeah.
Where's your curly cues at, bro?
Yeah, exactly. Where's the old skullet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's cool, man. That and I think as you release more music and are definitely playing more shows, especially like kind of big shows like this, that the word is gonna get out that you are still doing music and doing some pretty fucking kick-ass music too.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and another thing too was just like the logistical aspect of being able to get out and do it. For instance, these if you have to like rent a van or something like that, it's ridiculously priced now.
Sure.
And it's insane all the stuff they try to tack on. It's like almost $10K for 4 weeks, and I remember paying
Wow.
$1,100 for 6 or 8 weeks.
Yeah.
So we have our own wheels,
Yeah.
and we can do whatever the hell we want,
Yeah.
whenever the hell we want, and we don't have to worry about it. And that right there alone has helped us grow this band.
Yeah. Have any plans after this tour? Any other road plans?
We're working on 2023 right now. My agent's working on it, and we're going to see what's out there. We have one show in Akron, Ohio in November, I believe, and I believe that's it. We may try to tack a few around that, but probably just go out and do that one show because we can go do one show now, and it's actually feasible to do. So, and yeah, we're still kind of in the mode of just getting it out there too. So, yeah, we're realistic about it.
I kind of heard too, I remember thinking, I'm like, man, yeah, I'd love to go see them open up a big show like this. But I also kind of heard that, you're of the mentality where, we're going to play everywhere and anywhere we can. Doesn't have to be necessarily like a big venue or a big tour. We're still, brutal. We love the underground, and we're going to play wherever we can.
Exactly, man. And I'd like to keep us very utilitarian in that regard. I want to be able to play, a small punk dive on the French Quarter.
Yeah.
I want to be able to play here.
Yeah.
Or just pretty much anywhere. That never really mattered to me so much. What's really always mattered to me is just connecting with people and trying to write the best music I can.
Sure.
That's like the main focus. And if I can do it full time for a living, great. If I can't, I have other means that I can make money with.
Sure,
I have
for sure.
other skills and trades I can do. But
For sure.
Forever, I'm doing this 100%, no matter what.
It's your passion, man.
Yeah, it's whatever level I can do it, whether it's out on tour like this or just playing locally. I'm always going to be playing
music
and releasing stuff. Yeah,
That's so great, man. Thank you so much for sharing all about your endeavors at this point in your career. I know there are many fans in San Antonio and in Texas who know you and respect you and are going to be here tonight to check out the show. For those people, is there anything I missed? Any last words you would like to share with fans in Texas and around the world who will watch this interview?
I would basically just say thanks so much for, not just being fans of us, but just being fans of metal in general and helping keep it all alive. Because
Sure.
It really is truly unique. It's still kind of ahead of its time. It's a little over some people's heads, but, the metal community is always, full of nice people that really just enjoy the music and want to have a good time and let loose and let things, let let all the other rest of the world, you know, be in a hurry or do whatever they do. It's kind of an escape for us.
Yeah.
You know?
And it you know, as we kind of end out, you know, I think I love talking with musicians like you because who've been in the scene for a long time, through the ups and through the downs, and now as we're all kind of getting a little older, we just have a little different, more admiration and respect and gratefulness just to have been a part of it for so long and continue to be part of it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm just thankful that I have the health to be able to
Sure.
continue to play like this.
Sure.
So I'm just going to hold it to the floor and take care of myself. And,
Yeah.
you know, maybe I can still play at 260 beats per minute when I'm 60, you know.
Yeah, Kevy.
I'm going to give it a shot.
That's awesome, brother. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the time. Remember, everyone out there, the band is called Narcotic Wasteland. The man, Mr. Dallas Toler-Wade, is leading the charge. You saw him only right here on Rob's MetalWorks.